Hi, my name is Linda, and I'm here today at Essie's Rug Gallery in Franklin, Tennessee to talk to you about a basic outline of belly dance movements. We're going to go over a few of the major movements that we use in our dancing so that you can recognize them when you see your belly dancer out at a restaurant or perhaps at a festival. And maybe you want to learn a little bit too. So let's take a look. Once you're in position for your basic belly dance stance with the knees bent, arms out, chest nice and high and tucked in, you're going to start alternating your knees. They're already bent, so we're going to straighten one side just a little bit and let the other one stay bent. And then we're going to switch, bending one knee and straightening the other. You never go all the way straight with the movement. You're just going to go about halfway to 3/4 of the way straight on each leg. From the side, you can see that the knee is still bent even though my hip is lifted. And we're going to alternate from there, keeping our weight very centered. Let's lift right, then left, right, and then left. We're going to match it up with the music, so we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can also, in addition to pulling in because of the hips, you can also use your side muscles to help guide the hips up towards the rib cage. So we're not pushing out like this, we're lifting. Good. We're going to turn this into what I call an unweighted hip drop. Starting in our basic position with the knees nice and bent, we're going to lift up the left heel. Now that ankle is going to stay straight through the duration of the movement, so it's not going to come up and down with the hips. So make sure that your ankle is strong and in place. Also make sure that both knees are still bent as you continue through the movement. There's a tendency to want to straighten in the leg that bears more weight, but actually you want to make sure that it's soft and bent so that it does some shock absorption. We always want to stay isolated with our belly dance movements, and that's going to help you do that. So again, pulling in on the belly, pelvis tucked under, we're going to start doing our hip lifts, lifting on one side and then letting it drop. I'm still alternating both of my knees. Again, that's going to be your shock absorption to make sure that you're nice and isolated. You want the upper body to be totally still and the lower body to have a lot of action. Good. So we're lifting up this hip right now, but we're also letting it drop in between. So now we're going to just change our focus a little bit, and instead of thinking up on one, we're going to think down on one. So let's start with the hip lifted, and we're going to drop, 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 drop. Again, make sure that both knees are working so you're nice and isolated. Good. Let's do this with the arms coming up. Backs of the hands together. Good. Let's take it down. Good. Great. Let's switch to the other side. So this time what we're going to do is have a variation of a hip drop. Starting with the knees bent, just like we did before, we're going to lift the right heel. In this position, you're going to be able to see that my foot is going to come off the ground, but it's easier to see if I turn. So we're going to work at a 45-degree angle, turning so the belly button is looking, instead of straight forward, at the corner. This also looks a lot nicer in performance. So knees bent, hips tucked under. We're going to start working with our hip drops. So we stay lifted to start and we drop 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. The only thing we're going to change is every other drop, we're going to let this foot come out from under us and just straighten the leg, point the toe just a little bit. It's not a forceful kick, it's more of a release. Yeah, it's a very traditional movement. They use this a ton in Egypt and Lebanon and in Turkey. So it's a really integral part of your belly dancing. So let's start lifted here. We're going to drop normal, and then we're going to lift and drop again, but this time with the foot coming out. So we go lift, drop, and release. Drop, drop, release. Drop, drop, release. So again, you're using that dropping motion with the beat, and we're going to speed it up a little bit and work with some music here. So we're going to go drop, drop, release. Drop, drop, release. Good. Let's try with the left hand at the head. Drop and release. Drop and release. Drop and release. So those are some basic belly dance movements. I hope that you've learned a little bit from us. If you have any other questions, feel free to visit my website, lindabellydance.com. Thanks.